I think I clicked it at the wrong time. Anyway, hi guys. I'm not good at this yet. You'll see. This is Kathryn, and we're going to do a full live reading for you guys today.
Yay!
I have not met Kathryn until today. So I'm excited about that. And I haven't gotten to look at her numbers yet. I don't ever look at numbers beforehand. Well, sometimes people give them to me, but I don't need them either way. It doesn't matter. But I am going to just check that we're live because I never trust anything. So let me just refresh my Facebook and see. I'm sure that we are, but who knows? Yes, we are. Okay, cool. And we have someone watching. Cool. Okay. So, okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do it the way that I always do it, as if we are not live, okay?
Okay.
I will answer questions if people put questions up or anything. And Kathryn can answer questions if you guys have questions for her, because I know she knows a lot of you. So basically how I start every time is I always ask you, have you ever had a numerology reading before? And do you know anything about numerology?
I have never had one before, but I have watched you do them. So on your little mini readings,
Oh, I'm
and I
my
watched the live you just did with I can't think of his name now.
with Jose. With Jose.
Yes, with Jose. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool.
That was fun.
I love doing his numbers. So
Such cool numbers. Oh my gosh.
He has really cool numbers, and that's why I didn't know that he would win the live reading thing, but when he did, I was really excited because I was like, oh wow, now I can finally just tell everybody. So I have this problem where I hear a lot of really cool stories and I meet a lot of really cool people. Like, you would not believe the things that people tell me. And I can't tell anybody, and it drives me crazy because I always want to tell everybody these really amazing stories. Like, I'll have visions of something and then someone will tell me a whole story about it. And they have these amazing things happen, but I can't tell anybody. So having Jose on was so cool because I could finally actually tell everybody,
tell the world,
tell the world how cool the people are that I meet. So so it was very exciting actually. And then having Steph on, just to hang out with me and Jose, that was really fun too. Like, man, Steph is one of the coolest people too.
Yeah.
Both of them. They're just phenomenal people. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I just caught a minute of that because I was at work, but it was good. I have to watch the replay on that.
Yeah, it was long. I'm trying really hard not to do long things anymore, but we'll get there. We will get there. Hi Shauna, hi Sarah. I'm so happy to see you guys. I can't see the other two. It says Facebook user, so I'm gonna put. There's a link that you have to click. You only have to do it one time ever, and it just gives you it gives StreamYard permission to show me your name and your picture. So I'm going to put it in the comments, and if you just click that link and just say yes, it'll show us who you are every time, and then you won't have to do that ever again, and we'll know who you are, so I can say hi to you. So. Otherwise, I'm not very good at managing the comments at all. I usually have a helper. So, okay.
And I know a couple of my friends are joining, and it just says Facebook user. So, Lisa and Ashley, if that's you, click that link.
Yeah, tell them.
I'll be able to see your comments.
Click the link and be our friend. We want to see who you are. We want to know you.
Right.
So, tell me your birthday.
So my birthday is August 5th, 1969.
Okay, so I'm going to draw your chart, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about numerology, and then we'll get started. So let's see. I always feel bad on my mini readings when I do them on Fridays. I always feel bad because when I first look at the numbers, I think I make a face. And I don't mean like I always go, and it's not because anything's bad usually. Sometimes, usually it's not. And I always feel bad because I always think, oh, I hope I'm not making that person uncomfortable,
You know what? I can hardly see with these darn glasses. I got my wrong glasses, so you're good.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. But I initially put your numbers in and I went, oh, but I didn't think you have good numbers. I promise.
That's funny.
So,
I see you now, Lisa and Ashley. And hi, everybody else. I have to like switch my screen to see the chat, so I
yeah.
keep like touching it. But yay! Hi, Shauna. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Ashley and Lisa. And if you guys have not clicked the give StreamYard permission, do that. I see another person who didn't do that. I can't tell who you are, but it says it's 22:08 here. And I'll tell you what that time means. So like that time would mean, so twos are all about love and your emotions. It's the heart chakra. So it's all about trust, and it's your trust for yourself and trust for others, but it's usually about love when you see it in a time. And it's like love, let's see, love, I would say it says love and trust will have a new beginning in adventure. That's what I would say. Like it's
Wow.
an adventure, because 8 is all about adventure. I mean, 8 can be a hard number, but when it shows up as a time, it's usually a good number. So, oh, they're asking about your dogs. I guess they all know that you have dogs, huh?
All right, let me look at the comments here. Let's see.
I was telling her that my dogs are probably going to bark again at some point, and she said that's why she's in her car, so her dogs don't bark.
Yes, I have so many dogs, and yeah, just as I was leaving, they were like barking their heads off. So I'm staying in my car, and I'm hoping that they don't go out in the yard and see me in the car because they're gonna throw fits.
That's funny. Well, if I could do all of these from my car, that would be smart too, because my dogs are ridiculous and my cats are ridiculous too. They take turns like just walking across my desk while I'm working.
Oh yeah,
so fun.
Same. I have cats too. Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about numerology and then we'll get started. So numerology is the study of numbers and how they apply to your life. The idea is that we reincarnate many times, and we do that because we're trying to learn all the aspects of what it is to be human. And lately, my guides have been telling me it's really important to add in a little part where we're not just trying to learn how to be human, we're also trying to learn how to be human with other souls that are being human at this time with us. So like, it's not just important for you to understand and master all of the aspects of being human for yourself, but also it's important for you to understand all of that so that you can understand how to have relationships at this level, because we're in a very challenging place here on Earth. This is a very challenging experience. And so we're not just trying to master our own emotions and how to deal with them, but we're trying to master how to have relationships with all these heavy emotions as well. So that's really important, and the guides keep talking about it. Anyway, so basically we reincarnate many times, and every time we do that, every time that we come into a new life, we make a new plan. That new plan is recorded into our birthday, and then numerology is the language that reads that plan. And I'm basically a translator, and I always say, hi, I'm your translator. I always also say that this is not to be considered a psychic reading, because really what I'm telling you is I'm reminding you of your plan. I'm reminding you of the plans that you made before you came here. And so this really feels like a remembrance. It's a very odd feeling, because I will tell you a lot of things that make sense to you, but you won't remember when you knew them or when you forgot them. It's like I'm reminding you of something that you knew at one time, but you can't remember when you knew it. So it's a very odd feeling, but it's a very good feeling. It's like it's a coming home kind of feeling. And then also There is a psychic element because I do channel from my guides and I channel from your guides because I connect to your energy. And so if I tell you any messages that are like in the present moment, or if I have any visions or anything, I will tell you what all that is as it happens, because you won't be able to tell usually. Um, and then that's basically it. So do you have any questions?
Nope, sounds great. I'm
Okay.
excited.
I feel like I say that little spiel so many times and like all different ways that I don't even know if it makes any sense anymore because I don't listen to myself when I'm saying it.
It makes a lot of sense. You're
Okay,
good.
okay. Hi, Ariel. I'm so glad that you're here. Hi, Ashley and Christine. I don't know if I said hi. I think I said hi to Ashley already. So hi again. Okay, so I'm going to show you your chart. I'm going to tell you about the different parts of your chart. Hopefully I can get it on the camera, right? Okay, so this is your chart, and the steadier I hold it, the better. Okay, so these are the three aspects of being human: the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. Anything that is in the spiritual or the mental, those are your those are your gifts or your superpowers for this lifetime. Those are the things that help you. Anything that is in the physical, those are the obstacles that get in your way. Anything in the physical is always going to be in direct opposition with the spiritual and the mental. That's so that you can grow into the best you that you can be. Anything that is in this column, these are all of your goal numbers for this lifetime. And then the one that is circled is your main goal for this lifetime. Okay, so do you have any questions about anything?
Nope, just ready to hear what it is.
Okay. Okay, so sorry about my voice. I talk too much, so I lose my voice a lot. I don't actually ever lose it, thank God. I hope that never happens, actually. Okay. So I like to build you up rather than bring you down. So I like to start with your hard numbers and then I go into your easier numbers. So if I tell you some hard stuff, just know that it will get a lot better as we go. And I do start like bouncing around depending on like which numbers are speaking and which numbers are just kind of staying silent. I'll like bounce around to who wants to talk, kind of. I know that sounds weird, but numbers vibrate and I connect to their vibration. So they kind of speak to me and they kind of speak to each other. And the whole time I'm doing this, like, I always just go, like, I look down a lot. And when I look down, I'm looking at your numbers and I'm asking them questions. And usually I'm like, oh, well, what are you doing? And how is she taking it? And then what are you doing? And, I just kind of do that. And then if I'm looking up or to the side, that's always, I'm asking the guides questions, and then they're giving me answers. So I kind of am doing a couple things at once, but it all works. You'll see. I'm not crazy, I promise.
Super cool.
Yeah. Okay, so you have an 8. The 8 is a very hard number. It's a very misunderstood number. Okay. It says that you've had a really hard life. You have a hard 8. Okay. So when I say that you have a hard 8, it means that you're, like I always say, you're walking a number. So you're walking your 8. And what that means is that you not only have it in your chart, but you also have it in your goal column. That's exactly how I have an 8, which is that is the hardest way that you can have an 8. So it will give you a really hard life, Just keep in mind that we choose our lives, okay? Like at some point, your higher self knew that this was the right thing to do, okay? So trust in that. That will save you in this lifetime, just to know that alone, and to fall back on that, to say, like when times are really hard and you really have a lot of trouble, the best thing to do is to remind yourself, I chose this for a reason, and that reason must have been good. Find the good in it, because there always is good. We just have to find it. A lot of times it's really hard to find. And when you have a hard 8, it is really, really hard to find sometimes. So just know that. So you are somebody who is a very old soul. You've been here many times and you feel that. You feel that in a way that you're tired. You're not physically tired, but you are emotionally, spiritually, and physically tired. It's kind of like an overwhelmed tired, like on the inside in a way. You feel like you've done this so many times and you're tired of the experience being so hard. You're tired of the uphill battle and you're tired of looking at the world and seeing all the hard things, like the 8 is the humanitarian number. So you're very in touch with humanity and with the suffering of humanity specifically. So when you see homeless people and you see drug addicts and people with mental health and things like that, that really does actually break your heart. And you're somebody who wants to literally trade places with people like that. Like, you have this overwhelming feeling that you would do anything to make their struggle easier. I do want to say that one of the best downloads I've ever gotten from my guides was, you cannot help anyone by joining them. It's one of the biggest things that I had to learn, because I always give everything that I have to everyone around me until I'm literally depleted and not okay. And I've given so much of my life away that it's really hard not to be upset about that sometimes. So I have finally gotten to the point where I understand this, and if I can get you to that point quicker, I would love to, because it is really, really important to know that if you want to help a whole lot of people, please rise above this life and be able to help them. You will not lose touch with anybody. You will not lose touch with yourself. You will actually gain so much by becoming successful yourself and by being happy yourself. So it's really, really important that you rise above in this lifetime and you help yourself first. And once you do that, you will be able to help others. But make sure that you are good. Like, get yourself to a point where you are so good that you can help others, and it'll make everybody feel good. It'll make you feel good and them feel good. So I'm sorry if I'm making you emotional. I'm not trying to.
Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. I'm just going to warn you right now. I cry all the time. So
Okay.
if I cry during this, don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Okay. I mean, it's not unusual for people to get emotional, honestly, because a lot of this is very personal, and it does touch places that you need to hear. That's why I do it. Like, a lot of times your guides literally match us so that you can hear certain things, just so that it will help you. So hopefully this helps you and does not hurt you. Okay. So the 8 is also all about patterns. The 8 is the number of patterns. So like, if you look at it, it's like an infinity sign. And when my mom does numbers, because she's the one who taught me numerology, she will always draw it and she will say, you make a mistake, you make it again. You make a mistake, you make it again. You make a mistake, you make it again. She'll say it over and over and over until it's annoying. And it's kind of she does it that way, because it actually really hammers it in. And the truth is that it actually helps you to wake up to your patterns quicker, because 8 is actually a number. It's a number of the patterns. Oops, I lost you. Oh, I lost her. Okay, well, we'll just wait until she comes back. If I could sing, I would sing you a song, but you don't want me to do that. So let me see if I can, let me send her another link, see if that works. I think maybe her phone froze or something. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, well, I'll let you guys know when she's back. If anyone has any questions until she comes back, you can ask now. Let's see, I'm looking at the comments. It looks like you guys all know her, which is really cool. Yeah, you can't help anyone by joining them. That was one of the biggest lessons I got actually recently. My guides literally said that to me. They said, you cannot help people by joining them. And that's one of the biggest things that I had to learn because I didn't understand that. Oh, she's back. Yay. Hi.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I can't look at the comments because I was trying to click on a comment and I exited out. I'm so sorry because it's on my phone. So if I don't see your comment, I'm sorry.
Okay, you can totally just blame them. Just tell them that it's right. Oh, Michelle says that her son started sea monkeys 2 days ago. Really cool. I just ordered more, so I'll give you guys sea monkey updates on Friday. Hang on 1 second. My dogs are going crazy, and I just need to see why. Okay, my mom is here and my sister. So I guess I don't know. I'm not going to go say hi to them. Come and say hi to us. Hang on 1 second. Okay. If the dogs start being really crazy, I'll shut the door again, but hopefully they're good. Oh my goodness.
Is it okay to like ask you questions in the middle of it, or should I wait till the end? Or
ask questions. I just say, don't lead me too much. Like you can ask questions and I can answer them, but like don't go and tell me stories until the end because I want whatever I tell you to be authentic. Because if you told me something and then I tell you, it's going to sound like you told me,
Oh yes. Okay, no, I'll just wait.
I mean, but you're totally welcome to ask questions about, things. That's totally fine. I don't mean to tell you not to ask questions.
Okay.
I know that I have a high level of skepticism. And if I lead anybody during a reading, I will feel like they're not really giving me a reading, so.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I get it.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, so the 8 is, oh, well, I should say, do you have a question though that about the 8?
No, I'm good. Okay. We're good. Yeah.
So the 8 is all about patterns. And a lot of times that is like negative patterns that we're going to notice. It's about positive patterns too, but you're really not going to notice the positive patterns. That's just not what we notice, but so it's also about breaking karmic chains. Okay. So you are somebody that is here to break those patterns. That's the whole reason why you're living in them. They're here to make you so uncomfortable that you have to do something, like that's really the point of it. So like you will make a mistake over and over and over until you finally go, holy shit, I'm making a mistake. I should not do this, and then you will set out to change it. You will still make that mistake a few times once you notice, but that will be the beginning of you actually changing it. And then when you do change it, you change it forever, so it's kind of like, I've been using this example lately. It's kind of like when you walk down the steps, there's like one step that's just like a little bit off and you trip on it every time, like you stub your toe or something. And every time you go down the steps, you're like, God damn it, I'm going to fix that next time. I always do this, and then you go down it again like 5 more times. And you're like, oh my goodness, I have to fix this. I have to fix this. This is killing my toe. And then, but you just keep doing it because you don't have time and you're just busy and whatever. But once you notice it, it kind of sticks out in your head and you're like, next time I'm going to remember. And then you still forget a few times. And then one time it just pisses you off enough that you sit right down at the bottom step after you do that and you actually get a hammer and fix it, and then it never, ever is a problem again, then the next step goes, that's how it works. But no, it's like, that's how it works. You make a mistake over and over and over until you finally fix it. But once you fix it forever. And so that's going to be the story of your life where it's just like you have a lot of troubles, but then you actually clear them for real because you're breaking karmic chains. And that's what it means to break a karmic chain, The 8 is also all about family trauma. So it's like the family the family trauma from the past and things like that, like the things that pass down, you're somebody who is actually breaking a lot of that as well in this lifetime. So that may feel uncomfortable, mostly to other people. Like I know that feels really uncomfortable to like my mom. Like I told you I have the same 8, and I'm always the one that says, you know what, like I don't care if it's been done a million times already, I'm not doing it. And then everyone gets all uncomfortable and they're like, well, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, yep, I'm not doing it right. Sorry. I'm not doing it the way everyone else did. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's who you are too. You're breaking like all the family. You're kind of saying like all the crap ends with me, and you're stopping it at that point. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And it's a very uncomfortable thing for you and for others, but it's a really necessary thing. And there's a lot of us that came here to do that. So, okay. And then the 8. So the 8 is a really hard number. And a lot of times I say it's the poverty number because it's a number that sometimes keeps you just above water pretty much your whole life, where it's like, I'm okay, but I'm not really okay. And then sometimes I'm really, really not okay. That's the usual feeling of the 8. Once you turn the 8 around, though, it becomes the master manifester. So it's like you are equally the sufferer and the manifester at the same time. You just have to turn that energy around. Okay. And the way that you turn that energy around is you understand, one, that you can't join people to help them. You have to rise above to be able to help anybody. You have to be good yourself. But another way is to understand that your success does not equal anyone else's failure. Like you do not take away from anyone from you having more. So like you having more is always a good thing. And the sooner you recognize that and accept that, the sooner more will come, and once you really do cement that inside of you and embody it, then you will become the master manifester. That's really how it works. You are a very natural manifester. So if you don't know that yet, it's really important for you to start learning that, because it's so easy to manifest when you have a number like this. I'm to the point where I can literally think about something that I want and it will appear in my reality. It's the weirdest thing, but it happens so often I can't deny it at this point, so that's where you want to get to. Okay. You also, so the 8 is the number of self-worth. So it's like, I know I'm harping a lot on the 8, but your guides are really holding me here. It's kind of like when I try to move on from it, I can't yet. Okay. So, so it's about self-worth, and it's about, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not educated enough. It's all the enoughs. Okay. So you have a high level of I'm not enough, and that's something that is going to be kind of a pattern for your lifetime. It can also equal victimhood, so just be careful of that. The one thing that I always feel into immediately when I see a hard 8 is if you're bitter. I always want to make sure that you're not bitter or angry, because this number can lead to that. So you're definitely going to have times of that, but I do not feel that strongly with you. So that's why I'm mentioning it. I wouldn't really bring it up if I did feel it very strongly with you. The message would be a lot different. I would start working on how to get you out of that feeling, but you're actually pretty good. I think that you're, like I'm feeling your energy, and I think that I think you have a hard time with the world. I think the world feels really heavy, and I think it feels really scary a lot of the time, but I think you're managing it pretty well. And I think you're really good at seeing the positive. So it's really, really important that you stay that way. You will always have times that you do spiral, because you are someone that does go through depression and does go through times where you're just not okay. Just know that you will always be okay again. Like you are someone that will always be okay again. Hi, Steph. I'm glad that you're here. Do you know Steph too? Everyone seems to know.
I know stuff from the comments and from watching him. Yes. Hi, Steph.
Everyone
Glad
seems
you're
to know. He's always the popular one around everywhere. So
Absolutely. Super
okay.
smart and funny.
Yeah. Okay. So the 8 is the root chakra. I always try to tell you the chakras because I want you to know when you are in balance and when you are out of balance. I want you to know where to focus. Okay. So when you are in balance with your 8, you are going to feel like the world is yours. You're going to feel like you're getting all the parking spots. You're going to feel like, I know that sounds weird, but whenever I'm not getting the closest parking spot, I know I'm out of balance with my root chakra. That is my number one sign. Because I always get front row parking, and it's to the point where my kids always say, well, mom's car is always going to be in the front somewhere, because I'm always like right at the front. So when you're in the positive energy, you're always getting the good parking spots. You're always getting the lights turning green as you're going. You're manifesting like crazy. You're having what you want in life. Life feels good. When you're in the negative part of the 8 or the root chakra, the root chakra is all about your connection to the earth and your connection to humanity. It's your connection with suffering. It's your connection with the unfairness in the world and things like that, like in the negative, So whenever you're in the negative part of it, you're going to feel like the world is against you. You're going to feel like nobody likes you. You're going to feel unworthy. You might have some imposter syndrome. I've dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome. Oh my goodness. Like I could not be educated enough. I could not get enough certifications to do any of the work that I do.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. And at some point I had to say, it doesn't matter. I'm clearly able to help people, so so I did stop at some point, but you're definitely going to have that when you're in the negative, the negative of the root chakra. Also, the 8 is all about the earthly vices. So another indication that you're in the negative of the root chakra is if you are misusing any of the earthly vices. And you can always think of the 80s when you think of this, because the 80s were all about sex, drugs, rock and roll, materialism, vanity. I know that I'm in the negative when I can go shopping when I don't have money. Like if I go shopping, I can justify anything when I'm upset, and it's like the negative energy. It's the materialism, it's like I'll go to a store and I'll be like, well, I'm upset. So if I buy a whole bunch of stuff, that's going to make me feel better. And when I'm in the store, I really do believe that. And then I come home with all these bags and I'm like, yeah, I still hate my life. What's going on? And it's because you cannot fix anything internally with any external solutions. When you're not okay internally, you have to work on the internal. And when you're not okay, when it comes to the 8, when you're not okay and you're trying to fix it, what you need to do is you need to feel like you deserve a good life. You need to feel like you are worthy of a good life. You are worthy of all the things that you want. You would not want anything that you are not worthy of. It just would not even vibrate into your atmosphere if you could not have it. You would never want anything that you do not actually have the possibility of having. So just know that, okay. Hi, Jose. I'm so glad that you're here. The 80s were awesome. I love the music too. I was an 80s kid, so I love the 80s. But I don't like the bad parts of the 80s though. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Well, a little bit of that's okay, but some of that's not okay.
Hey, that was my entire history, so.
I do. I mean, that was how we grew up. So, okay. So you have a 5. The 5 is the parent or the teacher. It means that you must be a parent or a teacher in this lifetime to complete this life as you have intended. Okay. So usually people are both. I'm not going to guess, if you are or not. I can't tell, but sometimes I can tell, but this time I can't. But you will definitely be both, or you will definitely be sorry, you will definitely be the teacher, not both. You'll definitely be the teacher. You don't have to be the parent, but it helps because the ultimate teacher is a parent, so that helps. So the 5 is the family number. It is the sacral chakra, which is the womb chakra. It's the same. Sorry, I have a cat on me. It's the same for men or women. It's the nurturing energy. Like it's the very motherly or fatherly or grandparent energy. It's that kind of energy. You are the nurturer. It also means that you're a people pleaser, though. So you do have to be careful of that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, I'm sure, because I definitely don't think I can just say that and walk away because I can feel the energy of it. So, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the 5 first. So the 5 is also, it's also someone who you came here with your map. So like the stuff that I'm telling you right now, you actually have access to it yourself on some level. You may not know that you have access, but you have some kind of like blurry access in a way. Like I used to always say, because I also have a 5. Those are the only 2 numbers I have that are the same as yours, though. I have a 5 and an 8. I used to always say I could just blur my eyes and my map is right there in front of me because I could kind of see it or kind of know it, but I didn't know how or why. And you're like that too. So how this translates is that there's certain things about your life you've always known would happen.
Yeah.
There's certain things you still know will happen, right? And you don't know why you know those things because most people don't know those things. Right, they will happen. And it's because you wanted to give yourself a little bit more access to the map than other people. It's like I always make up scenarios of what happens on the other side when we choose this life and things. And so the scenario is, yes, I'll go back there again. I'm sick of this. I'll do it again if I can keep a little bit of my map. If I can kind of know the plan a little bit and definitely have access to it a little more than normal, then yeah, I guess I'll go there because then I'll at least have a reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And that's really why you do that is that, you need a little bit extra because that 8 is that hard. Like the 8 is so hard that if you didn't have something to reassure you, you might give up, and that's how you gave yourself like a reassurance. Okay, and then the 5 is also you are someone who came here with a whole set of philosophies and beliefs intact. You are someone who has very strong morals and beliefs, and you did not learn that in this lifetime. You actually came here with that. So like a lot of us learn that by the time we're 5 from our parents and things, but you actually came here with that. And so I always say, you're not somebody who would be a rule breaker, but when it comes to society's rules, you don't care. When it comes to your own rules, you care a lot. Like you're someone who lives by a very high standard, but it is your own standard and it is your own rules. And you are someone that always lives by that. You do not break that ever. And the reason you don't break it is because you have in the past, and you can't look at yourself in the mirror if you do that. So you really have a high level of, it's kind of like a promise to yourself. You have a high level of integrity to yourself. And the integrity really feels like, I will be a good person. I will not harm anybody. Even if I have the ability to, I will not do that, and sometimes you have to really, really work with yourself to try not to do that, you won't because anytime you ever did, it's like you knew it and you knew it instantly and then you couldn't live with it. And so that's why. So I usually say, people with 5s are usually really, really good people, like really solidly good people, I typically trust 5s. I don't always trust 5s. It depends on the other numbers, honestly, but I do typically trust 5s. Okay. And then you have this like nurturing energy. So you're somebody who really holds people in love and you're someone who's very patient and very kind. Okay, so you do have a conflict there where the 9 says that you are not very patient and the 5 says that you are very patient. Okay, so and I will tell you about that when we get to your 9 more, but you're not patient when it comes to your life. You're patient when it comes to teaching others. Okay, because you're the natural teacher, you are really good at sitting with someone and helping them learn something, and you will sit there until they get it, and you will be very, very patient, very kind, very understanding. But when it comes to you, you're not so much like that. You know. And that's okay. That, I mean, it's not great, but it's okay. You know. Um, but you are really good at making people feel like they matter. You have 2 numbers that say that, like your 5 and your 6 says that. You're somebody that really, really cares about like people not getting forgotten or left behind. You always pull the person out from the corner, and you sit with them until they're good again. You know, that's who you are, and you're a genuinely good person because of that. You know, not just because of that. You've got a lot of good numbers. You know. But that's one of the things that you do that stands out, and you really make an impact on people because you literally hold them in that kindness and you sit with them until they understand things, and you really genuinely care from your heart, you know? So that's really, really important. And people know that about you, even if you don't know that people know that about you. You know, like that's a feeling that I get that you may not know it, but people see it, you know? Okay, so the 5 is all about being a people pleaser. And I told you I was going to get back to this because that energy really I can feel. Okay, the problem with this energy, it's not that it's wrong to be a people pleaser. It's not that it's wrong to make people happy and to care about people's happiness. It's only wrong when it comes at a detriment to you, when it infringes on what you get to have in life, and it infringes on your happiness. Okay, there's what happens with this number is that, I mean, this is kind of a combination between your 5 and your 8, because both of them are kind of people pleasing numbers. The 8 is kind of like you don't see red flags. So that's a worrisome number. Okay, someone could literally stand in front of you holding a red flag and say, "I'm dangerous and I'm going to hurt you." And you would say, "But I love you. You're so sweet." You know, like, I know you don't mean it. But the truth is they do mean it, and they will prove it to you. um, so yeah, so that sucks. But then the 5, you're so busy taking care of the weak and taking care of the ones that need it that you really don't know when to stop. And you don't even know when to stop when they're not asking anymore. And this is where it becomes a problem. Okay, so you will help and help and help and help, and people won't even be asking anymore, and you'll still be helping, and you will deplete yourself in that. The result of that is resentment. Okay, you will start feeling very, very resentful. You will start feeling like a doormat to people, and you will start feeling like nobody respects you and nobody understands you. And what happens, this is the worst kind of feeling. I know it because I have it, because I have the same combination as you. Okay, you will literally be sitting in your own house and you'll be like, "God damn it, everyone takes advantage of me." You know, like, everyone always asks me for everything and no one does anything for me and no one cares about me. And you'll get so upset and you'll start blaming. Like, you'll start pushing blame. You'll be like, "It's her fault. It's her fault. It's their fault," you know? And then you will come to the realization that it's your fault. You will realize that you're the one that overgave. You're the one that overextended. You're the one that kept saying yes. And that is the worst feeling, because resentment towards other people kind of goes outward, but resentment toward ourselves goes inward. It's a really awful feeling. I want to tell you, it causes illness. Resentment, period, causes illness, resentment to others or yourself, but the kind towards yourself is a lot faster of an illness. Okay. So, like, when you're letting yourself down, you're going to cause illness in your body. So equal that to that. Okay. I want you to start knowing that you have to be able to trust yourself. You have to be able to have boundaries, and you have to be able to say no to things that are not right for you, you know? So like, I know that you want to help everyone, and I know that it's very, very tempting to always be the one, because it also gives you this really great feeling of I matter. You know, like when you're not helping anyone, you don't feel like you matter to anyone either. But the truth is, you matter either way, and people love you either way. And they will love you even if you're not giving to them. They will love you when it's an equal exchange, just as much as they will love you when they're taking all of what you have, because they're not trying to take all of what you have. You know, nobody would intentionally do that, you know. But when we do that to ourselves, it breaks us. It actually really and truly breaks us. And we have no one to blame but ourselves. And that is the worst feeling, because you can't go anywhere with it. Like, at least if you can blame someone else, you can throw it somewhere. But when it's you, it's like it hurts different, you know, and it really does hit you harder. So I just want to tell you, that's the main message I'm getting in all your numbers so far, is that your guides are saying you have to stop with that. Like, you have to stop. You have to start having boundaries, and you have to start understanding how much you matter, and you have to start doing things for you.
Write it down.
Write it down, highlight it, bold it, you know, do whatever you can to make it stand out. It's really important, for real. That's your main message so far, is that you really just worry a lot about what other people need and not much about what you need. And you matter. You matter so much, you know, and nobody will ever get any help if you're not okay, you know. So anyway, I don't mean to harp on it, but the energy is very strong. And it's like, it's really hard not to keep going back to it, because it's very, very strong. And I want you to know, I want you to really kind of, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, but I do want you to understand how important it is, because I don't want it to lead to illness for you. You know, for me, it did lead to illness. I got very, very sick a few years ago from taking care of too many people. And I got so sick, I came very close to dying. So I took back my life, kicked a lot of people out of my world, and my life is finally working, you know. So but you have to, even when you do that, you have to keep maintaining that. Then you have to keep having your boundaries, you know. And your boundaries simply have to be, I matter first. That's all. You just have to say, it matters if I sleep, it matters if I eat, it matters if my bills are paid, and it matters if I'm happy, you know. Like, that matters first. And once you meet those basic needs that you have, I think you should exceed those. But once you meet at least those, then you can help someone else, anybody else, you know. And even when it comes to your kids, okay, I'm lucky to have grown kids by the time I realized this, you know. But even my kids, I have them at a distance now. Like, we're best friends, and I love them, and I help them all the time as much as I can, but I do not help them at my detriment anymore, you know. I help them at a certain time each week. I set aside for them. I actually set aside 2 days for my kids every week. You know, I set one day for family events and one day for my grandkid, you know. But other than that, I don't really do much for anybody except myself. I just make sure that I eat. I make sure that I sleep most of the time. I don't always do that so well, but I try. And I do not allow people to just move in with me anymore. I used to do that a lot. I don't support people that don't have incomes. I used to do that a lot. I don't go to
like me.
always like, anyone has a sob story and I'm like on it, you know. I don't do that anymore. I also, even when it comes to my business, I don't just hand out free readings all over the place anymore. I've given thousands of free readings. Really, honestly, I'm not exaggerating, you know, because everybody has a sob story. and I just always am like, let's do this, let's do that. I have this, I can give it, but truthfully, you can't give when you don't have anything, so anyway, I'm not going to harp on that anymore. When you
Oh,
are,
I needed to hear that.
your guides are talking about it a lot, and also your numbers, like, feel it. I can feel it in your numbers. So, okay, so the 5 is the sacral chakra. Like I said, when you're in the positive energy of the sacral chakra, you are going to feel so loved, and you're going to feel so loving, and you're going to feel like everyone around you just really values you, and everything is good that way. You're going to feel like the best teacher, like you're really getting through to people when you help them. You're going to feel like a good guide for others, like you're going to feel like you can respect yourself as a guide for others. You're not going to feel like a phony when you try to show people things. And then when you're in the negative of the sacral chakra, you're going to feel very taken advantage of and like a doormat. You're going to be building resentment. You're going to have a lot of anger towards yourself. You're going to feel like you can't trust yourself. And you're going to just hope that nobody asks you anything because you'll be afraid that you'll say yes to everything. So that's how you know the difference. Okay. And then you have a 6. A 6 is your hand chakras. Your hand chakras are on and working. I mean, everyone's are, but you're actually using them in this lifetime. You're focusing on them, so you're focusing on all the energy of them. Any number that you have in your chart, you're going to be like really living all the aspects of that energy throughout your lifetime. So like you're going to cycle through the good and the bad and the middle grounds, of everything, and you're going to kind of go back and forth as you age and things like that. So the 6 is all about the artist, the healer, or the musician. You are one or all of those things. You are you are living in that energy, and you are someone who is very creative. You're someone who has a whole imagination inside of your head that's your own. The picture I always say is in your head is a better world, because you're here to make the world a better place. You have that as a very strong calling, where you literally want it to be better just because you've been here. It doesn't mean, so like the saying is, you're here to make the world a better place for you having been here. It doesn't mean that you have to stamp your name on everything. Some people do. It doesn't matter if you do or not. That's not really what it's about. It's really about coming here, looking around and saying, it's not really the way it should be. And then you're trying to make it different. You're trying to make it better. You're trying to end the suffering a lot of times. That's really what your focus is. You have a very strong people focus, like you're very much about humanity. You do also care about the environment, but you care more about humanity, and you care more about humanity getting it right, because you care a lot about people, and that's why you're guiding people. So you are somebody who is, like I said, an artist, a healer, or a musician, or some combination of that. Anything that you do with your hand chakras, I always say that can equal a lot of things. That can be like art and, painting and sculpting and things like that, or drawing. It can be writing, cooking, gardening. It can be automotive work or construction work. It can be anything that you do with your hands. So like, I try to throw in like extra things on the sides so that you kind of know this doesn't apply to just one thing, it applies to all the creative things, so you are the creator. You are somebody who is literally creating reality from your imagination, in some way or more, or others. You are, I mean, I've already said this a few times, but you're a very beautiful soul. You're a very beautiful soul in a lot of ways. Okay. So when it comes to the 8, you're a beautiful soul because you do not judge people. You do not look at anyone like they're different. Like, it does not matter if someone is homeless or someone is a CEO. They are the same to you if they are a good person. You judge people by their heart and soul, and you do not judge people by their status or circumstance. Okay, so that makes you beautiful. You are somebody who loves to teach and guide people. So you like to pull people out of the darkness, and you like to help them come back to the light, and you like them to feel loved, and you're very patient and kind with them. That makes you a beautiful soul. Okay. And then the sixth, you are a gentle, beautiful energy. Okay. Like you're a gentle, tender-hearted soul. Okay. So yes, you get your feelings hurt very easily. You do take things very personal a lot of times, even when you shouldn't. um, a lot of people will do things, and you will automatically think that they're doing it against you, and they're not. They're most people, I'll just tell you this just because I know this for sure. Most people are very selfish. Most people can't see past themselves at all to even look at you. So, like, they're definitely not doing anything to you. It just appears that way. It just feels that way. And I used to always take a lot of things very personally, and I would be like, I know they did this on purpose just to hurt me, like that's how I would feel, and that's what I would say even because I was kind of a punk. And the truth is, most people are just trying to make their own lives work. They don't even notice other people around them, and if you're not talking about them, they don't even hear what you're saying to them usually. So it's just important that that most people are not trying to personally hurt you or offend you. You just take it that way sometimes. Hi Denise, I'm so glad that you're here. Steph, I'm talking about the six. So the six is the gentle, tender-hearted soul. It is the person who is the artist or the healer, someone who is the creator. They have a whole imagination inside their heads, and they're making that come to life in reality. So, and yes, it's the hand chakras. That's what Ashley said. So, okay. So you are someone, so I always look at the six now as a bird. It looks like a mama bird to me. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but that's how I look at it, because I always say you hold people in your hands like they're precious, like they're special. And when I hold my hands like that, I'm really like making like a nest, like I'm like going like this. But I always say you hold people in your hands and you make them feel very special and very seen and heard, and like they matter, like you're somebody who actually holds people in this energy like they matter again, and you bring them back to life. Hang on one second. Hi.
The neighbor wanted to talk about the shed.
About my shed?
Yeah, to ask like how much it was and questions about it.
Oh, the old guy?
No.
What, the young guy
Yeah.
next door? Okay. Tell him I'll come knock on his door later. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, my neighbor's at my door apparently. Anyway, okay, so you are somebody who literally, when you focus on somebody, it's usually because they're being forgotten somehow. Like you are someone who notices the forgotten. You notice the weak, you notice the misfits, you notice the people that are not okay. Ashley says, is it a hot neighbor? Actually, he is kind of hot, but he's married, so doesn't matter. And I shouldn't even be saying that because my boyfriend watches these things sometimes. My boyfriend actually came over the other day and he goes, I saw you. And I said, what do you mean you saw me? And he goes, I saw you with those two men. And I said, what men are you talking about? And he goes, you were on that live with those two men. I saw you. And I was like, babe, they like don't even live anywhere near me. Like that was a live program. He goes, yeah, I know, but look at you hanging out with all the guys. And I'm like, okay. like, this is not something to be jealous of. But anyway.
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah. Hi, Jim. I'm so glad that you're here. Jim never gets to come on my lives anymore. Jim's one of my good friends. Okay. Anyway, so you are somebody who really, really notices the weak, the broken, the misfits, the ones that are not okay. You pull people out of the darkness. That's one of your biggest superpowers, is that you literally take people from the darkness and bring them back to the light. you love them back to knowing who they are, you know, and you do that mainly by just seeing them, by just putting a focus on them when nobody else was doing that, and by genuinely caring from your heart, you know. So so that's what you do with people, and that those are the three numbers that just, that combination, the 5, the 6, and the 8, it just makes you a genuinely good person, you know. Like, it makes you somebody that is just such a kind, tender-hearted soul. And when I feel that you have self-worth issues, I hate that. Like, you're not somebody who should feel like that, because you are somebody that should feel all the love that you give to the world. But truthfully, you give that love to the world because you know what it feels like not to have it, and that sucks. Like, to me, that sucks. I hate the reason why we do a lot of the good things that we do. I hate that it usually comes from a hard place, you know, but I also know that just makes you an incredibly beautiful person all the way around. You know, it makes you value things. It makes you value people, you know, it makes you just solidly a good person, you know. Okay. So what you're doing when you create, you are somebody who, you channel your heart energy through your hands and you give that energy to the world. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're channeling heart energy and you're sending it out to the world. When you are in the positive energy of the 6, Steph says to go easy on you. Am I being too hard on you?
You know what? It feels good that you're saying this, because I know I need to hear that. It's so spot on. Yeah. I'm like cracking here, but like I said earlier, I cry all the time, so I'm all teary, but that's okay.
Well, I definitely don't want to make you not okay, though. So that is important. I do think you're just a very beautiful soul, though. I really do. Like, this energy, I really, really love. Like, I love your energy, you know? Of course. Okay.
Cry.
Okay. So when you are in the positive energy of the 6, you are feeling like the world is worth saving. You're feeling like you want to add good here. It's worth it. People are worth it. The world needs good, and you have good to give, you know. You feel expansive with your love, you know. When you're in the negative part of the 6, you're feeling personally offended. You're feeling slighted. You're feeling like a lot of you're feeling a lot of hurt and pain, like your feelings get hurt easily, and you're feeling like this pain of that, and some trauma of that, you know, and you're feeling like the world's not worth saving, like maybe it's already shit and there's no point, you know. You're feeling like humanity is crap and it's not worth it, you know, like that's how you're feeling when you're in the negative part. So I always tell you the chakras, because it's really important to know when you have these feelings where they're coming from, and where to focus them, you know, like where to focus healing, really. And the 6 is all about healing. So like, you are somebody who is really good at healing yourself, and you do that with your creativity. Okay, so whatever you create with your hands, that is a way to bring up your inside trauma and actually heal it, you know. And you actually take your inside trauma. So the trauma from a 6, the trauma from an 8 is kind of like heavy and dark, and that one is like, it's a different kind of trauma. Okay, the trauma from a 6 is like a well. It feels like a well inside of you. Like, I can always feel it in the chest, and I always gauge how far down it is. You know, some people, it's really, really bad. Some people, it's not as bad. You're about middle. Okay, like, you're somebody who has a lot of pain, but you also manage it pretty well for the most part. Not all the time, but for the most part, you manage it really well. But you do need to clear some of it. And so how you clear it is you literally start creating more. You start doing more artwork or more music, or I say healing on others, but really that kind of healing is not going to heal you as much as it heals the others. It's better for you to do the artwork or or the music. That's what I'm feeling with you. You can do healing on others, and that's fine. That will help a little bit with you. But truthfully, that's you giving your life force too much. So like you really need to be creating. And even if you don't give that creation to anybody, like even if you're just writing in a journal or you're coloring in a coloring book, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Whatever that is that you do with your hands, you're going to actually bring that trauma up out of you to the surface, and you're going to transmute it into love for the world. That's what happens. You take that negative, awful feeling and you transmute it into love. And then that heals you, and it also gives to the world, so it gives love to the world. So you're definitely being called to do more of that, to be more creative. And I think you already are creative. Like I feel that, but it's like your guides are saying you do need some more of that. That's why I'm feeling a lot of the stuff, like the heaviness. So Denise says, as we heal others, we heal ourselves. Yeah, I agree with that. But I definitely think that that's not the message I'm getting right now for you. So like if you do healing on others, I think it does heal you, but I don't think it's enough. I think you need more than that, but I do agree with that. When you heal others, it actually does have this, when you give good, you get good back. So that is true. Like it's reciprocal. I don't know. However the hell you say that word, it's give and take, karma, good karma. But yeah. Anyway, so, okay. So you have an 11 that shows up in your mental. The 11 is the astral traveler. Do you know that? Do you know that you astral travel? Okay, good. Sometimes I tell people that and they know, and sometimes they don't. Okay, so do you do it actively on purpose?
No.
Okay, but you do it.
I know there's, yes. I feel like I can also see the astral sometimes.
You can.
In my waking time, I can see it sometimes.
Yeah, you're very connected. Yeah. So the reason why people are natural astral travelers, everyone can do that. Okay. Everyone can do every ability. It's just some people are focusing on certain ones more than others because they're trying to master that ability. Okay. So the reason why you put this in your chart is because you actually go and heal a lot of stuff in your physical, in the astral realm, so you go and work out your issues there. I have a friend that she actually goes in her sleep and astral travels, and she goes to people and talks to their higher selves. I think, I don't know who she talks to, but she talks to them when she's sleeping, and she actually mends her relationships. And then when she wakes up, they remember it. Like they don't remember the whole thing, but their relationships are good again,
Yes. I was just coaching somebody to do that the other day.
Yeah, cool. Nice. So you do that. That's good. Yeah. Good. I think that's awesome.
What's crazy is sometimes I would travel, and I didn't realize it was traveling. At first I thought it was dreaming, but I'm traveling to the point where people die, and I help them transition over.
Wow.
It's really bizarre.
No, I've heard of that before. I think that's amazing. It's probably one of your gifts.
Yeah. So but I don't do it on purpose. It just randomly happens. So
yeah. Well, so those kinds of things are usually clues to what we might want to do on purpose, So like maybe you're just having a glimpse of what your abilities are so that you can kind of choose what you like, And then if you choose that, it will grow, like it will grow into something that you're kind of more in control of, but it depends on if you like it or not. And so that's the one thing I always tell people is that it's a choice. Like all the things are a choice. You're not ever held against your will in any way at all. Even just living another day is actually a choice. You are the only one that's actually choosing that. You're just choosing that on a higher level, But all of the stuff that you feel called to, and like I always say, numerology is a calling for me. Okay. It's very obvious to me now that this is what I was always supposed to do, but I never understood that because I always thought it wasn't something I wanted to do. I thought that it was I wanted to be respected and taken seriously. and I didn't want anyone to think that I was crazy or weird or whatever. And so I always looked at this as something that was a background thing. But then it kept coming to the surface. It kept knocking on my door until I finally did it. And when I realized how I could make it work, then it started becoming the thing, you know. But it's like, if I never ever decided to do it, it might have still knocked on my door a lot, you know. It might have still come up, but I could have lived my whole life and not chosen it, and that would have been okay too, you know. You can choose anything that you like doing, and you can choose not to do anything that you don't like doing, you know.
So interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little more about that when I get to your 9. So that's where we're going next. So you have a 9. The 9 is your third eye chakra. It's all about being psychic. So like your third eye is open, you're very, very psychic. You're walking your 9, which, like I said earlier, that means you have it in your chart and your goal column. It means that you're a spiritual guide here for others, you know. You have the vision, and you're lending that vision to others. You know, that's what you're doing here. I know I don't know what you do for work or anything, but I would say that, you know, if you're not doing something spiritual, you probably will end up doing something spiritual at some point. So you're definitely a spiritual teacher, 100%, like in every direction. And you're definitely a hands-on people person. You're not, like, I wouldn't say that you're an environmentalist. Like, that wouldn't be your big calling. It might be one of your sub callings. But you're going to be, if it involves people, it's going to be your big calling, you know. But your big calling is people. Like, you, in every way, you're here for humanity. You're the humanitarian, you know. So Steph says the 9 is why you show up to help others cross over. I 100% agree. Like, that is what you're doing. So like I said, the 9 is your third eye chakra. It means that your psychic abilities are on. It means that you have very natural psychic abilities. A lot of times I'll tell people that your psychic abilities are very much like a light switch. You can turn them on and you can turn them off. Okay. This is not what most spiritual teachers will tell you. It's all up to you. Like, your abilities are up to you. If you want them and you like them, then keep them. But if you don't want them and you don't like them, or they scare you or something, tell your guys to turn them off, and they will, you know? So like, you don't have to have anything that makes you uncomfortable, and you don't have to have anything that you don't like, but you can have anything that you want when it comes to psychic abilities. Okay. So, a lot of times when your psychic abilities are naturally turned on and you did not, so like, anyone can have any psychic ability. There are no special people. It's just some people practice it more and then they hone those skills and master them. And some people practice them less or don't care about them. That's the only difference. Okay. But yours are naturally turned on. So yours are just much more present without trying, you know. You are somebody who, because it's so natural to you, you may not realize how many abilities you have. I know that you're psychic. It's very obvious that you know that, okay? But like, you may not realize how psychic you are, you know? And I say this because all 3 of my daughters have double 9s, and they're very, very psychic. I'm not psychic. I've always been psychic, but like, I was not born with it turned on. I was somebody who had to develop it. And I was just very lucky. When my mom was little, she used to experiment with me. Like, her and her friends would think thoughts to me when I was very little. They would think like, go turn on the TV and then go turn it to a different channel and things like that. And I would do it, I guess. So she told me about that. I don't remember that. But she also like had us meditate when we were little and things like that all the time. But like, I was lucky to grow up in a family where that was accepted and that was actually developed early. So I don't remember a time when I didn't have psychic abilities, you know. But what I also know is that a lot of my psychic ability has been developed. So I know the difference. I know the difference of having it or not having it. You know, when someone has it just turned on, you may not recognize the difference. You know, you may just think, oh, this is just normal. This is just something that everybody does, And an example of that is my daughter, my youngest daughter. She has a 9. She has 2 9s. And she just thinks that everybody sees the future. I don't see the future. Like, I really don't see the future. Once in a while, I mean, not once in a while, but I have visions of the future, of a future possibility, but I don't just see that naturally. She does. Okay. So I always tell this story about how we were driving through this residential area. Like, we were driving through this little neighborhood. Okay. And I was driving, and there was this little hill, okay? And you couldn't see anything past the hill, okay? And I, I get up over the hill, and I'm not going very fast because I'm in a little neighborhood, but I get up over the hill, and there's a little boy with a ball, and his ball is in the street, and I had to slam on the brakes, okay? And so I slam on the brakes so I don't hit him. And my daughter's like, Mom, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not hitting the little boy. What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm living life normal. Hello, And she goes, well, I don't understand. Why didn't you stop way back there? Why didn't you slow down? And I was like, Shauna, not everyone can see the future. Like, I don't see the future. I couldn't tell that there was a little boy at all, or that he had a ball, or that it was going to be in the road. I didn't know that before I got over the hill because I didn't actually see that, but she sees it. She lives a little bit in the future all the time. So she always knows what's coming, and you're like that too. So you may not realize that you have that ability because it's so natural and you've been living with it for so long. But when you're in a situation like that, you're going to realize that other people don't live that way. That's not actually normal. We're not born like that normally, So like, it really was hard because it took her a lot to understand it. Like, I'm really glad it happened because now she understands it. But like, before that, I could never explain to her why I would make decisions that she wouldn't make, because she always glimpses the future and I don't glimpse the future. I'm dealing with what is now and what I think is going to be next, what I hope is going to be next. I don't always know exactly what's going to be next, and she does. She just knows a few steps ahead, So, yeah. And you probably like that. So what I tell people with 9s, and anyone who is listening, this applies to you as well. All these numbers apply to you if you have them. I always say, make a list of all the abilities that you can think of, all of the psychic abilities, like all the clairs, all the, whatever you're interested or not interested in, it doesn't matter. Just make a whole list. Okay. Then look up every one of those terms. Make sure you know what they mean. Okay. Make sure you know what it is and what it does and things like that. And then go down that list, and anything that scares you or that you don't like, just cross out. And anything that you think you want to try, circle, and then one at a time, but only one at a time. Don't ever do more than one at a time. Ask your guides to turn on that ability. Okay. So the one I always use as an example is telepathy. I use that because it's really fun, because I do it. I've always done it my whole life, and it's really fun and it's really easy. And so I always say, if you wanted to try telepathy, you would say to your guides, hey, so I want to try telepathy. And then sometimes it'll turn on right away, sometimes it'll take a little bit. I always say there's about a 2-week window when you ask a question to when you get an answer. It's not always right away, but it's usually within 2 weeks. And the answer may not be exactly the way that you want it. So like, if you say, hey, I want to learn telepathy, and then you expect to just wake up knowing how to read people's minds and send messages, that probably won't happen, not right away anyway. But what will happen is you will probably stumble upon a book about telepathy, or someone will come across your path that teaches that or practices that and talks about it. Or maybe you'll be listening to a podcast that they're talking about it. Something will happen where your guides will put it on your path more and help you notice it, And so then it's on you to take the inspired action to actually learn it, you know? So sometimes, depending on how long it takes you to develop these abilities, you know, like the actual communication with your guides and things, depending on how long it takes you to develop that relationship, a really good, solid relationship like that, sometimes it takes a while until things turn on, you know, when you ask them to, or if you ask for a message, sometimes it takes a little bit to get it. But the more you work with your guides, the quicker that happens. Okay. So like sometimes you can ask and it happens right away. Other times it takes a little bit, you know, but just trust that they are here. They are listening. They're dying to talk to you. They want you to talk to them. They want you to work with them. That's what they're here for. You know, they're literally here for you. And you can talk to them anytime you want. And you don't have to do that out loud if that makes you feel crazy. Do it inside your head. They can hear you. Or I always say write letters. Like writing letters gives you a sense of tangibility, you know, because you can look back on it. So if you wrote a letter and you said, hey guys, I want to learn telepathy, you could look back, you know, 2 weeks later and say, oh, I did ask that. You know, like I'm not just crazy. I'm not making it up now that I have signs of it, you know. But yeah, so basically, then if you didn't like it, so like say you turn it on, you start learning how to do it, maybe you take a class on it or read a book on it or something like that, you start practicing it a little bit and you're like, well, I don't really like that, you know, then you just say to your guides again, you say, hey, so turn that off, I don't really like it, and then they'll turn it off and you won't have to deal with it anymore, you know. Not everyone knows that we have that much ability, like that we have that much control over our abilities, you know, and not everyone teaches that. And it's really a shame because a lot of people feel victim to their abilities. They feel like my mom said she stopped doing numerology when she started having people come and try to talk to her. Like she had like you know, ghosts and spirits or whatever come through her channel and they started trying to talk to her and she didn't like it. And I was like, Mom, if you don't like it, just tell your guides, they'll stop it. They won't, they want to work with you. Like they're on your side. This is not against you. This is for you. This is an ability that you chose to have. It's for you, you know? So, yeah, so just know that like, this is yours. You chose it. And you get to control it then. You get to say, I want this, I don't want this. I want that, I don't want that. It is all up to you. And the more that you do take control of it, the more it's going to work for you. And then you can hone your skills and develop them better, you know. Do you have any questions about that? Because I know that this is a big subject, you know.
So a couple questions popped up, and that's how would you know? Like, I know a lot of the different abilities, but
Yeah.
is there like a place that lists them all out, or a website, or
Know of a
'cause
place?
I know the obvious ones, but you know,
Yeah.
is there more than that? Because and a lot of times, and also another question is, you know, I feel things a lot. I feel
Yeah.
what's happening in my body with other people and animals and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that, but oftentimes it's painful and I don't want to feel that, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way to like rein that in without turning it off?
Yeah. You can
Or
ask your guides that. So the more you talk to your guides, the more you will realize that they're working with you and talking to you too. But definitely ask your guides that. So there's this thing that I teach. It's I call it the magic times. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know what other people call it because I've never heard anybody talk about it but me. But there's these 2 times a day where I call the magic times, and it is right when you wake up or right when you're falling asleep. It's when you are not quite in this world and not quite in the other world. You're kind of in between, you know?
yeah.
Those are the times when you have direct connection with your guides. Okay. I mean, you do astral travel, so you have that as well. But if you're not able to control that yet, you know, this is the best thing to do. So use the magic times. I always say pick the one that you are more aware in. Okay. So like I'm a night person. I'm really in control of myself when I'm falling asleep. but I'm not a morning person. So like I don't use that time very often because when I wake up, I just don't have control over it very much. But when I'm falling asleep, that's when you do all of your intentions. That's when you do all of your talking to your guides. They can hear you. Like I know somebody, or I don't know if I read it somewhere. I don't know where I learned this, but somebody said they can't help you unless you give them permission. They can't hear inside of your head unless you tell them that they can or something, like tell them that it's okay. I don't know if I believe that, but whether it's true or not, if you believe that, then it's true, you know? So tell them that they have permission to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I've done that.
If you trust them that much, you know, you should trust them that much, though. They really are your guides, you know. They really are working with you for your good, you know. But yeah, so tell them it's okay to talk inside your head with them, and then at that time, either when you wake or when you're falling asleep, when you're not really asleep but you're not really awake, in that time you set your intentions. You say, hey guides, I need your help, or hey, I want to learn this thing, or could you show this to me, or could you answer this question? A lot of times you can go to sleep with a question and wake up with an answer. You know, it doesn't always happen that instantly. It does when you practice it a lot, you know, but use those times for this kind of work, you know. So like those are times that you have a lot of control over, and at least one of them you will. And those are the times that you really can talk to your guides. You really can change your life in those times. If you're ever trying to manifest anything, that's the time you want to do it. Like you want to talk about your intentions. You want to talk about the things you want in your life. You want to ask questions that you have. But you want to say, hey, so I hate this. I hate that I feel what other people feel. I hate that I feel so much. Can you just lessen that feeling for me? Can you make it so I'm still attached and I can still feel enough that I understand, but don't make it so intense that it overwhelms me, you know? Because it, you know, like being an empath is hard, you know, like it's really hard to feel other people's feelings. I, at one point, did not know that other people didn't do that. I remember when I was a teenager, that's when I learned that. I was watching TV. I wasn't watching the TV. I was walking past the TV and there was some singer on. And I just was like, you know, watching it for a few minutes. And I said to my best friend, I was like, can you tell that she's in pain? And she goes, what are you talking about? She's singing. And I said, no, can you tell that her heart is broken and she's like crying inside? And she's like, you're crazy. She's not at all. And the thing was, I didn't know that not everyone knew that, you know, like, because I can feel people's pain so instantly. And I feel all the stuff inside that they're actually going through. And so I thought everyone felt that, you know, like I thought that was normal. But you can still have that ability and then have it be lessened, you know, so that it does not overwhelm you. Because there are times when that will overwhelm you. I mean, sometimes when I'm giving a reading, I start crying, which is crazy. I will touch somebody's pain and I will start crying, which is crazy. I hate that, you know.
Yeah. No, it happens to me all the time. That's why I cry all the time, I think.
Yeah.
I feel people's pain all the time. Yeah.
It's good to feel. Feeling is really, really important. We actually create our world with emotion. So like emotion is like a superpower, really honestly. And the more you can feel, the better. It's just, if you can't control it, it's not good, you know? So ask to get more control over it and practice control over it. Okay. So like when you're sitting with someone and you're feeling their pain, you can say inside of your head, it's okay to not feel all of this, you know, like you can tell yourself that it's okay to know that they're in pain and to not also take that pain on yourself, you know, because sometimes we just don't even think to do that, like to say those things, you know, but just start talking to yourself as if you're your best friend, you know, because you are your best friend. You know, like you are, like the only one you never ever get away from is you. So make a friendship with you the most you can. But definitely talk to your body, talk to your senses, talk to all the parts of you, because you are always listening to you. You just don't realize that. So anyway, hi, Suzanne. I'm glad that you're here. Suzanne's one of my favorite people. I always say that. I'm like, that's my favorite person. Everybody's my favorite person. Not everybody, but lots of people are. So, she says, you are your best friend. You are. It's true. So, okay. So the 9 is also about passion. So you are a very passionate person. You are somebody who has passion in every direction. Okay. So this is great for romance. This is great for business. This is great for anything that you're really into. It can turn obsessive though. So just like you want to watch that, like you don't have it in a way that I would worry, but you can get too much into things, I will say it's an amazing driving force to have. I think it's really incredible to add passion to anything that you care about. Just be careful that you don't do too much passion, So, yeah, you don't have any numbers I'd worry about with that though. Like I'm actually feeling into it as I'm saying it just to make sure I'm not lying. So I'm not. Hi, Karen. I'm glad that you're here. Okay, so let's see. You also have what else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else about the 9. Oh, so the 9 is about impatience. Okay, so you're very, very impatient. Now, the kind of impatience that you have, it's a form of anxiety. Okay, it's not true anxiety. Although you may encounter some true anxiety, you don't have true anxiety. Okay, like you don't have the extreme anxiety, but you have the type of anxiety that, I made up this phrase, but it's very fitting. You have anticipation anxiety. Okay, what that means is that you see the future in some way. You either taste it, touch it, feel it, see it, experience it somehow, okay? Or you just know it, but you can't touch it yet, okay? So this kind of anxiety is caused by knowing what's going to happen and then having divine timing and having to wait for divine timing to make it happen. So what happens is this thing is going to happen, and then over here it really does happen, and then in the middle of that you start saying, well, maybe I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I just think things and I just make them up. Like, who knows, and you kind of talk yourself out of knowing things. And then the thing happens and you're like, I knew that was going to happen, So this is really easy to cure. Like, this is something that, it will grow your psychic abilities so much if you just stop doing that to yourself. Like, stop with all the doubt. Also take, like I always say, to write things down. Like, that's my thing, is writing things down. Take a journal or something and just write down all the times you were right. Do not write down the times you were wrong, okay? But write down all the times that you were right, all the times that you knew something was going to happen and then it did happen. Even if it happens slightly different, because sometimes we see the future and then the future changes a little bit, But anytime you saw the future and it really did happen, write that down. That will become your proof for when you're doubting yourself next time. So the more that you can prove to yourself that you really are right and that your abilities are really spot on like that, the more you will actually build your abilities. That's what happens. Like so I always say anyone can do anything that I do. Okay. Like, I don't do anything special. The only difference between me and anyone else that does not practice the way that I do is that I have practiced it over and over and over and over, and I have believed in it over and over and over. I still doubt it though. But but the truth is, the only difference between someone who is really, really gifted at psychic abilities and someone who is not yet is just the amount of practice that they've done around it and the amount of belief that they have in it. Like, if I start doubting that my guides are really talking to me, then my messages are not going to be very clear. The more that I trust that, the clearer my messages get. And same with you. The more you trust that what is coming in the future, the more future vision you're going to have, you know. And it's not just that, it's all your psychic abilities, you know. But I use the future vision because that's the main element of the 9 is the future. It's the vision. It's the visionary, you know, like the one who sees more, you know. So anyway, and then you have one more number. So I'm going to read that number to you. And I think you're going to like this number, okay? Because sometimes, so this is your life purpose number. Sometimes life purpose numbers make a whole lot of sense, and sometimes they don't make any sense at all, okay? So like sometimes you'll be like, okay, well, that's nice, you know, but it's very vague. It's because it's a spiritual thing, you know, it's a spiritual understanding, not a human understanding, you know, like a spiritual goal. But this one makes a lot of human sense, okay? So you are here to complete great purpose. You work very hard and suffer greatly to make life better. Your struggles to overcome all of life's hardships do get you to the place you are trying to achieve. So I know that sounds like a really little number. It kind of sounds like a fortune cookie almost, you know, but this is the thing. Not everybody has that. Like a lot of people suffer a lot their whole lives and they don't get there. They don't achieve what they're trying to achieve, you know? So they suffer and suffer and suffer and they hope that they will, but they don't always, you know? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends. Yours, you wrote in your chart on purpose that you do get there, that this does equal something, that all of this is not for nothing, you know? So I think that that number is one of the best ones to have, you know, because it's that certainty that like all of my effort matters, you know, like I'm not doing this for no reason. I'm not going to just go and repeat this life again and, you know, not do, you know, not get anywhere by doing this, you know? So I think that's the best number.
Anyway, what number is that?
That is the 28. So that is your life purpose number. Yeah, your main life purpose number. So hi, Steven. It's good to see you here. Okay, so tell me what you think. Do you think it was accurate? Do you have questions?
Oh my God, it was so accurate.
Good. I thought it was, but you never know. So
it's like you're just reading everything about me. It's just wild.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you're exactly right when you said that you're gonna. It's like you're telling me things that I don't know about myself, but I know they're true. Right? It's something like that,
I know.
right?
Isn't that weird? It's like,
Yes.
so I call it.
I'm like, oh yes, that's so right, but I never thought of it that way. It's like, yeah, duh. That's exactly me.
Yeah, I call it a remembrance because it's like I tell you things that you know, but you don't know when you knew them or when you forgot them. And it's a very weird feeling, right?
Yes.
It always feels weird to me because I can feel your energy when it happens, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I can feel people going, oh yeah. And then they think and they go, wait, how do I know that? You know, but they do, they know it, you know. So.
Right. It's uncanny. It's crazy. And the things that I wrote down, it's funny because when I look at them, like when you were talking about number 5, the sacral.
Yeah.
And you were saying how you have to say, well, I matter first. And I write it down and I'm like, you know, I tell this to people all day.
That's why your guides are telling it to you. My guides,
right? But I don't do it.
Yeah, of
right?
course. Of course. But you are being asked to now. So
yes.
That's the thing. It's like you don't do it when you know you should do it, but your guides didn't specifically say you better do this now. You know, so that's what your guides are saying now. They're saying it's time for you to care about you. And if you don't do that, that leads to illness. Like I know that that's extreme to say to people, but I think it's really important because it's true. Like it's
it
just
is,
true.
Yeah.
It really does, for real.
100%. Yes. And it's funny because I just had a reading from another one of Laura's guests, Minty, the other day, and he told me the same thing about the having to be creative. And I always, when people told me I had to be creative, I just thought, well, I don't have time to do that. You know, I'll be creative in other things that I'm doing or whatever. But I never thought of that as healing myself. Right?
It is.
I just thought it was like a side extra thing you get to do when you have time and you have money, right?
Yeah.
But not something that actually feeds and heals yourself.
Do you
That
know
makes sense
why?
because I'm a huge gardener and
Yeah.
I haven't been gardening for the last couple years since I got like a ton of rescue dogs and I haven't had time.
Yeah.
But I know when I dug my hands in that soil and I did things, it was just soul soothing. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Do you know
So,
why it heals you? The reason why it heals you to be creative is because that is you giving to you. Like you're always busy giving to others, but that is
yeah,
you giving to you. That is something that you love, and you are giving that gift to yourself. And so, anytime you can be creative, it doesn't matter if you have money or time, you make that happen, just like you would make it happen for somebody else. And same with the 8. So like the 8 says that you're an adventurer. I know I didn't talk a lot about that, but like
yeah,
you love adventure,
yeah.
and you don't give yourself enough of that,
Mhm.
but that's a gift that when you give it to yourself, it unlocks the pain of that 8, and it turns it around to be the master manifester. Because once you start feeling good about your life and you start adventuring, then you want more of that and you start bringing more of that to you. So that's why you're supposed to give to yourself, because the things that bring you joy can actually save your whole life, and you need more of that. You need so much more of that. You need so much more happiness and joy and adventure and creativity and all of it.
And when you say the master manifester, I laugh because I never actually thought of myself as a manifester, but
Mhm.
it's weird because I have my home life and I have my work life.
Yeah.
And work life, I feel like I can manifest anything I want. It just
Hmm.
happens. And it's like you said, like I just think about something and then somebody will come out of the blue and say, "Here, did you need this?" And it just comes and it just feels so natural.
Yeah.
And then at home, I can't manifest a thing.
Yeah. Do
Nothing that I want or need.
you know why that is?
No,
I know,
tell me
I
why.
know exactly why that is. It's because you have no walls around what your workplace needs and wants and can have. Like when it comes to the workplace, you say, "Oh, well, they just need this. It's okay." And so you have no walls that say they don't deserve it. They don't have the money for it. They're not supposed to have it. But when it comes to your life, you're like, "Oh, well, I didn't earn that," or "I didn't work for that," or "I don't deserve that," or "I shouldn't have." The truth is, if you took those walls down and you said, "Actually, I do deserve all the things that I want because I am a beautiful person that deserves every great thing in this world." And if you truly believed that, you would have the same thing happen at home. That's the only difference. You're just putting walls up over yourself. That's all. Lisa says I'll have to tell you that again. Maybe I'll remind you of that in a few months. you know.
Thank you.
And I'll be like, "Hey, so are you doing anything for you?"
Me never.
No, you have
There's
to.
so many other people that need things, but no, I heard you. It's funny that you said that's like feel like the whole reading was that, and I'm like, God,
It
it's
was
so true.
your
You
guides
know?
are really trying to teach you that right now. Like they were really, really harping on that. Honestly, the whole.
Yeah.
So it is really important, and I can't say it enough because I know you hear me in this moment, but it's like I would love for you to hear my words. Like some people say they hear my voice months later in their head. I would love for that to happen because I would love for you to hear when you're not taking care of yourself. I would love you to hear you do matter. You are important. You are worthy of every great thing in this world. You really are. And if someone told you that you weren't, they lied. They're liars. Don't ever believe anyone that tells you that you don't deserve everything that you want, because you deserve every single thing that you want and more. I believe that
I'm
to
gonna
my
sound bite that and then
core.
like
Do it.
put it on my Spotify
Do it.
somehow or
I believe that to my core. I really do believe that to my core. I mean, especially with someone like you. Like, You're such a genuinely good person. How much do you have to give before you allow yourself to have? You know, of course you deserve everything that you're willing to give to everybody else. Why wouldn't you? You know? So,
Oh, thank you so much. That is so beautiful.
I
I
believe
feel so uplifted. I feel understood.
it's
Somebody gets me.
good. That is my purpose in this lifetime. My purpose is to raise you up, to raise your vibration back to knowing who you are and why you're here. I want to remind you that you are a powerful creator that can do anything in this life. You create your reality. And the more that you know that, the better the world is going to be. Do you know that? Like, if more people like you start understanding how to create a good world for yourself, you're going to create a good life for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
So it really is important that you do understand this. And if you want to be selfless, that's fine. Be selfless knowing that being a little bit selfish is a good thing. You know, that it actually helps others, you know? Because
Yeah,
it really
right.
does. Because you suffering does not do anything good for anybody.
Right.
It just doesn't. Suffering never equals something beautiful. Beautiful equals beautiful. Love always magnifies love, you know? So anyone that can feel good is always good for others. It's always good for everything, you know? But anyone that's going to feel bad, that's always going to bring things down, you know? So,
Yeah.
and I always say, you know, do things that make you happy. Like I always say to my boyfriend, I've always said this to him since I met him. I've always said, I just want you to be happy. Like, do what makes you happy. But then of course he has to say, he always says, anything that makes me happy. And I'm like, no, not anything that makes you happy. I am never talking about drugs. I am never talking about sleeping with other women. I am never talking about those things. But do what makes you happy within reason. That's
Yeah.
a little deal. But really, that's the best way to judge what you're doing with your life. If something feels good and it's not hurting anybody, it's the right thing to do. If something feels bad in any way, it's the wrong thing to do. If people would just live by that, you wouldn't need any other instructions because you would live really well, right?
Right.
Anyway, all right.
Oh, thank you
You
so much. It's beautiful. And I wish I could have seen, I know I'm gonna go back and rewatch this once you
have, of
know, are
course.
done because I
The
need to read through comments and I can't do it on my phone.
Oh,
So
yeah. Go back and answer the comments because I'm sure you know these people.
so thank you everyone.
Yeah, they've been great with the comments. They're so supportive the whole time. They love me, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been just incredible and I just feel just so blessed that, I got chosen and thank you so much from all of my heart.
Of course.
You are just doing amazing, wonderful things.
Thank
And I
you.
just think you're so incredibly talented and kind and gifted. And
Thank you.
appreciate you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. So we're gonna go. And Kathryn, you stay on because I'm gonna talk to you
Okay.
a bit. Okay. Bye, everybody. I hope you guys
Bye,
have a good
everybody. Thank
night.
you.